There was a tag sale sign in my front yard when I came home from my morning walk. I hadn't put it there. I stood on the sidewalk, staring at the bright yellow poster board staked into my lawn. Estate sale, Saturday 8 a.m. Everything must go, it declared in thick black marker. My hands started shaking. I lived alone. I hadn't planned any sale. I'm Dorothy. I'm 72 years old, and until 3 months ago, I thought I knew my granddaughter better than anyone in this world. Let me back up. It started the day after my husband's funeral. Richard had been gone 2 weeks when Emma showed up at my door with suitcases and her boyfriend, a thin man named Tyler who barely made eye contact. "Grandma, I'm so worried about you," Emma said, pulling me into a hug that smelled like the vanilla perfume she'd worn since high school. "You shouldn't be alone in this big house. Tyler and I talked about it, and we want to stay for a while, just until you're feeling better." I was feeling better. Better than I had in 2 years, actually, after watching Richard fade away from cancer. But Emma's eyes were so earnest, and I hadn't seen her in over a year. She'd been busy with college, then her job in Chicago, and before I knew it, we'd drifted into phone calls on birthdays and Christmas cards. "The guest room is yours," I told her. "But I'm doing fine, sweetheart, really." "I know you are," she said, but she was already directing Tyler to carry their bags upstairs. "But humor me, okay? I need this. I need to know you're not alone." That first week was lovely, I'll admit. Emma made breakfast every morning. She asked about old family photos. She laughed at my stories about Richard and our travels. Tyler stayed quiet mostly, always on his phone, but he was polite enough. Then Emma started asking about the house. "Grandma, when was the last time you went through the attic? Or the basement? Some of this furniture is so old. Wouldn't you like something more modern? More comfortable?" I brushed it off. The house was full of memories. Richard and I had collected things over 50 years of marriage, but Emma persisted. "Let me help you declutter," she said one morning over coffee. "I took this amazing organizing course online. It'll be therapeutic. We can donate things, keep what matters, and you'll have so much more space to breathe." It sounded reasonable. The house was cluttered. Richard had been a collector, old books mostly, and antique tools from his grandfather. I agreed to let her help. That's when things changed. Emma started going through rooms when I was out. I'd come back from the grocery store to find boxes packed, labeled "Donate" in her neat handwriting. At first, it was harmless stuff, old magazines, duplicate kitchen items, clothes that didn't fit anymore. "See?" Emma would say. "Doesn't that feel lighter already?" But then I noticed gaps. The mantel clock that had belonged to Richard's mother was gone. When I asked about it, Emma looked confused. "That old thing? Grandma, it didn't even work. I took it to the donation center Tuesday, but it was his mother's clock." "I know, and I'm sure someone will love it now. You still have so many things to remember her by." I felt guilty for being upset. Emma was right. It was just a broken clock. Richard's mother had been dead 30 years, but something felt wrong. The next week, I couldn't find Richard's collection of vintage fishing lures. He'd kept them in a display case in his study. The case was still there, but empty. "Emma?" She was in the kitchen, making lunch. "Yeah? Grandma? Did you do something with Grandpa's fishing lures?" A pause. Then, "Oh, those old rusty things? Tyler's buddy collects that stuff. I let him have them. They were just taking up space. And you don't fish. They weren't rusty. Richard took care of them." "Grandma." Emma turned to face me, and her voice was gentle but firm. "I know this is hard, but holding on to every single thing isn't healthy. Grandpa's gone. He'd want you to move forward, not live in a museum." I felt a lump in my throat. Maybe she was right. Maybe I was being sentimental. I went to my room and cried for an hour. After that, I started noticing more. Books missing from Richard's library. The antique sewing machine that had been my mother's, gone from the spare bedroom. When I asked, Emma always had an explanation. "Already donated. Tyler's mom wanted it. You said I could have that, remember?" I never remembered saying that. But I was old. Maybe I had forgotten. Then one afternoon, I came home from my doctor's appointment to find Tyler loading boxes into a van. Not our van, a rental truck. "What's going on?" Tyler jumped, nearly dropping a box. Oh, hey, Mrs. Dorothy. Just, helping Emma with donations. That's a lot of donations. Yeah, well, he shifted his weight. You had a lot of stuff. Emma appeared from the house, her face flushed. Grandma, you're back early. My appointment was at 2. It's 4 o'clock, Emma. Right, I lost track of time. We were being so productive. She gestured at the truck. Tyler's friend is taking all this to Goodwill for us. Isn't that nice? Saves us a trip. Something in her voice was off. Too bright. Too quick. I'd like to see what's in those boxes. Grandma, it's just junk. Old books, broken picture frames, stuff from the basement you never use. Then you won't mind if I look. Emma's smile tightened. Of course not. I walked to the truck and opened the nearest box. Inside were Richard's first edition books, his Hemingway collection, his signed copy of Steinbeck's Grapes of Wrath. Below that, my mother's china pattern, the one she'd brought from Germany. These aren't donations. Grandma, these are valuable. Richard paid hundreds for some of these books. Emma exchanged a glance with Tyler. Okay, you're right. I was going to sell them. For you. To make you some money. The house is expensive, and I know your Social Security doesn't cover everything. I manage fine, but you could manage better. Grandma, please. I'm trying to help. I wanted to believe her. She was my granddaughter. She loved me. But that night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about all the things that had vanished. The clock, the lures, the sewing machine. How much of it had actually been donated? How much had been sold? The next morning, I did something I'd never done before. I waited until Emma and Tyler left for errands. Then I went through Emma's room. I found receipts, lots of them, from eBay, from Facebook Marketplace, from a vintage furniture consignment shop downtown. My hands trembled as I read the amounts. The mantel clock, $200. Richard's fishing lures, $350. My mother's sewing machine, $400. And scheduled for pickup next week, Richard's entire book collection, listed price, $2,000. I sat on Emma's bed and cried. Not from sadness, from rage. But I'm not stupid. I'm 72 years old, and I've lived through more than Emma could imagine. So I didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I called my friend Margaret. Margaret and I had worked together for 30 years at the county clerk's office. She'd retired the same year I did. She was tough, practical, and she knew everyone in town. Dorothy, how much do you think she's taken? I don't know. Thousands, maybe. Margaret, I don't even know what else is gone. She's been packing things when I'm not home. Okay, here's what you do. Document everything. Take photos of those receipts. Make a list of what's missing. Then we figure out the next step. I can't call the police on my own granddaughter. Not yet. But you need to protect yourself. I spent that afternoon taking pictures with my phone, my hands shaking. Then I started going through the house room by room, making a list of what was missing. The total loss was staggering. Between the furniture, the books, the antiques, and Richard's tools, Emma had sold over $8,000 worth of our belongings. And she'd kept every penny. That night at dinner, Emma was cheerful. Grandma, Tyler and I were thinking, what if we had a big estate sale? Get rid of all the excess stuff at once, make you some real money. An estate sale? Yeah, we could hire someone to run it, or Tyler and I could do it ourselves. We've been watching videos about it. You could make thousands. I looked at her across the table, her sweet face, her innocent smile, and I thought about my husband's books being sold for $2,000 to a stranger. That's an interesting idea, sweetheart. Her face lit up. Really? You'd be okay with it? Let me think about it. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about what to do. By morning, I had a plan. I called Margaret. I need your help. 3 days later, I left the house early and drove to Margaret's. Emma and Tyler thought I was going to a grief support group at the church. Instead, Margaret and I went to see her nephew, James, who was a lawyer. Mrs. Grant, James said, spreading the photos and receipts on his desk. This is theft, clear cut. She's my granddaughter. She's stolen over $8,000 from you, probably more. What are my options? James leaned back. You could press charges, but I'm guessing you don't want to do that. I don't. Then we need to scare her. Make her think the consequences are coming if she doesn't stop. We talked for an hour. James explained what he could do, what he couldn't do, and what would be most effective. By the time I left his office, I felt something I hadn't felt in weeks. Power. That afternoon, I came home to find Emma and Tyler in the living room, surrounded by boxes. My things. "Grandma!" Emma jumped up. "We got started on the estate sale. Tyler made signs to put up tomorrow. We're thinking Saturday at 8. And, no." She blinked. "What?" "No estate sale." "But you said you'd think about it." "I did. The answer is no." Emma's smile faltered. "Grandma, we've already done so much work. Put everything back." "What?" "The boxes. Put everything back where it came from." Tyler stood up slowly. "Mrs. Grant, maybe you should sit down. You seem upset." "I'm not upset. I'm done." Emma's face changed. The sweetness drained away, replaced by something cold. "Done with what?" "Done with you stealing from me." Silence. Then Emma laughed. A harsh sound. "Stealing? Grandma, I've been helping you. You've been selling my belongings and keeping the money. That's ridiculous." I pulled out my phone and showed her the photos, the receipts, the eBay listings. Emma's face went white. "Where did you get those?" "Your room, while you were out selling my husband's tools." Tyler moved toward the door. "Emma, maybe we should." "Shut up, Tyler." Emma's voice was sharp. She turned back to me. "Okay, fine. I sold some stuff. You have too much junk in this house, and yes, I kept the money. So what? You were never going to use any of it. It was just sitting here, rotting. It wasn't yours to sell. You're my grandmother. What's yours is going to be mine eventually anyway. I just moved up the timeline." I felt like I'd been slapped. "Get out." "What?" "Get out of my house, both of you, now." Emma's expression turned ugly. "You can't kick us out. We've been taking care of you. You've been robbing me. Good luck proving that. You're old. You're forgetful. Who's going to believe you knew what was happening?" That's when I played my final card. James Morrison will. He's a lawyer. I met with him this morning. He has copies of all the receipts, all the photos, and a detailed list of everything you've stolen. He's prepared to file charges if you don't return every penny you took and leave my house within the next hour. Emma's face went from white to red. "You wouldn't." "Try me." Tyler grabbed Emma's arm. "Emma, we should go." "Shut up." She wrenched away from him, glaring at me. Fine. We'll leave, but don't expect me to come back. Don't expect me to take care of you when you're sick and dying and alone in this house. I'll take my chances. You're a bitter old woman, and you're a thief." Emma stormed upstairs. I heard banging, drawers slamming, and angry muttering. Tyler stood awkwardly in the living room, not meeting my eyes. "For what it's worth," he said quietly, "I told her this was wrong." "Then you should have stopped her." "Yeah." He looked at his feet. "Yeah, I should have." 20 minutes later, they were gone. I watched from the window as Tyler loaded their suitcases into their car. Emma didn't look back. She got in the passenger seat, slammed the door, and they drove away. I stood in my living room, surrounded by boxes of my things, and I cried. Not because I was sad, because I was free. Margaret came over that evening. She helped me unpack everything, putting items back where they belonged. The books went back on Richard's shelves. The china went back in the cabinet. It took hours, but we did it. "You did the right thing," Margaret said as we finished. "I feel terrible." "That's because you're a good person. She's the one who should feel terrible." 2 days later, I got a check in the mail. No note, just a check for $8,200 from Emma. More than she'd stolen, actually.